All right. So, Chris, welcome. How are you doing today?
Good. You?
Doing pretty good. You've got a really interesting story with Agape Pools and what you're doing EternaTurf. So tell me, how long have you been doing Agape Pools? Like, how did you
Uh,
get start doing this? And
uh,
why pool construction and
so
main?
15 years ago, I installed my first pool back at home. Just YouTubed it, watched it, and then installed my own pool. I left. After I installed my own, I didn't really do a whole, helped a few friends, and then went to the military.
Hmm. So when you get back from military service, you get back to I believe it was Charleston in Indiana. What made you decide to get into the pool business professionally? Because I know you mentioned you made a pool before, you did some work with maybe another company, but why did you decide that this would be a really good route to help other people? Like,
Uh,
what was your why for doing this?
yeah, I just thought I love the outdoors. I did construction stuff with my father-in-law, built homes, custom homes. And I've always had a zeal for building pools and starting from nothing in the backyard to what their homeowner would like. I'm a good visionary, so I could see what they wanted. And then I kind of started slowly about almost 5 years ago. And so I started it up, uh, got out of the military, started back up about 5 years ago. And ever since then, been doing the pools and the turf.
So how does a typical process work for you? So say I was a homeowner outside Louisville and I wanted to install a pool. What's the typical process you guys go and install this? So if I call you up, I say, hey, my name is Parker. I own a house outside Louisville. I want an in-ground pool. What do you do? What are the steps that follow that?
So the admin or the sales staff will take the call in. They'll take their name, address, phone number. We'll set up a meeting, go out there, estimate it, draw it up, measurement, give them a digital sketch of the property, of the layout, the way it's going to look, give them an estimate, and then we follow up, see if we can close it. Usually can't close it on the job site because they're usually pretty big numbers. It's hard to close a pool. Rarely you close a pool because they want time to think about it. We got some finance links most of the time, things like that.
Hmm. So talk to me about finance, because I would imagine that for most people, I know pool construction, especially in-ground pools, can cost anywhere between, 50,000 to 100,000 to $150,000, right?
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
see, I don't think most people can afford to just drop, 200,000 on a pool,
yeah,
just fall on all the money at once. So talk to me about finance options.
yeah. Most of our options are 20-year loans, anywhere from $700 a month to $1,500 a month. Um, then go out, stretch it out to 20 years. Our typical range is 80,000 to 130, 130,000. I installed my first pool for 20,000. So that's 15 years ago. So that shows you in 15 years went from 20,000 to 80 to 120 or 130,000.
Hmm. So let's say you go out there, you give the estimate, and then said, okay, yeah, with financing, I think I can do this. I want to move forward. So what's like, if you had to get it in like a few different steps, what is the actual process for installing an in-ground?
So we set it up to our construction team that's in-house. Um, we uh, we set up the delivery. If it's a fiberglass, we set up delivery. If it's a kit pool, liner pool, custom pool, we set up the kit to be delivered. We schedule that. We get out there. We excavate the site. We prep the bottom. We lay the walls, or we crane the pool in place. And after we crane the pool in place, we then start backfill. We backfill it with gravel. We plumb it first, and then we backfill it with gravel, tamp it, and fill the gravel all the way to the top. We shoot laser grade to make sure everything's on laser, the pool, the yard, where it flows properly, where the water doesn't flow towards the pool. And then after that step, where after we tamp the top base and get the pool in, we then tamp the top base and prepare for concrete around the shell or the outer of the pool.
Hmm. What's something you think that most people that want pools don't know and should know about pool installs? Like, what do you think is the one thing most people that want pools don't really understand that you wish they did?
I would say, believe it or not, I would say the delays in weather, that we try to be clear on now. They're not understanding the weather. I would say that the excavation site, I mean, you can show them with a photo 14 times of how much dirt you're going to pull out of here and how much tracked up their yard's going to get, but it still does it justice till they see all the piles of dirt that's piled up that you got to pull out of this pool. And then you got the neighbors. I would say the biggest thing you get is the neighbors next door. Either most time the neighbors don't like each other 80% of the time, and they're watching the whole thing go down, making sure that you don't drive on their grass when you're coming in and out of the house.
Right. So you think that it's a construction site. It's not almost a construction site, it's a construction site. You're excavating dirt, you're implanting a pool,
Yeah.
you're often, I'm sure, filling it up. And even with liners too, it's a whole thing. So talk to me about that. So vinyl liners in pools. I've been around enough pools in my life, but I never knew the term for it. So vinyl liners, what are they exactly, and why do they need to be replaced?
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got vinyl liners. We do vinyl liners. We do fiberglass, which is the shell. We just drop it in place, dig it, set the shell in place, level the bottom, set the shell, backfill it. Vinyl liner pools, we use a kit pool. It's a wall kit that you dig it, excavate it, set the walls, pour the footer around the walls, and then you have a track that goes on top of that before you pour the right when you pour the concrete, and the liner goes in. It snaps in the track, and then you seals tight, and you fill it with water, and you get the wrinkles out of it. I would say the advantage, people's always asking what's the advantage of fiberglass versus liner. I always tell them that with the systems today, everybody's going on this fiberglass crave because it's less maintenance. The mold and the algae doesn't stick to the wall, the slick surface as much. I would venture to say that's kind of going by the wayside because the systems today, we got salt systems that run the pools, less maintenance, less chemicals, less algae. And then the difference with the liner pool, every 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, you can actually change the liner out to a different color. So you feel like you get a brand new pool versus fiberglass. It's the same color for the next 50 years.
Hmm, that makes sense. And what would you say is like the reason why people install pools you see most often? Like, do they want pools, do you
I
think?
would say for mostly, a lot of these people are busy working people Monday through Friday that wanna have a vacation in their backyard, that they don't staycation where they can stay home and not have to go to Disney World or all these other different places and spend all this money to go somewhere else when they can just the kids. You see a lot of it today. It's mostly the kids and the wives wanting the pool, because they're stay at home or they're working from home and the dad's gone, and they want to, if they get a break, they want the kids want to go swimming, or they could work. A lot of this jobs today are hybrid or work from home, so they sit on the computer by their pool working from home.
Hmm. Talk to me about EternaTurf. Talk to me about what else you're doing. So you got Agape Pools on one side.
Yep,
On the other side, you got EternaTurf, which is a
yep.
turf installation company. How did that come about?
So I was in Arizona about 5 years ago, about the same time frame, and I met with a friend of mine. We stayed at his house. He lived, I mean, really luxury home in between all these mountaintops, and I'm like, what are you doing for a living? What are you doing now? Like, what you got like all these trucks and all these excavators, and man, you're doing well for yourself. And and then he brought me outside and said, listen, I sell artificial turf, and started pulling it out and showing me what he sells and what company he was. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And so I decided, well, you know what? I'm gonna call and interview and open up turf in Louisville, Kentucky area.
Hmm. So why do people want turf then? What's the advantage of turf versus?
I would say the advantage of turf is the maintenance. I mean, you have to cut your yard. I'd say our biggest seller is pet turf. They can do a pet area where the dogs run out there when it rains. They don't have muddy paws. They don't bring the muddy paws in. They can use the bathroom on the turf. It drains right through the turf. Playground turf. The kids can go. We did a church about a month ago, and it was mulch, and the pastor got tired of the mulch, the kids' hair and their clothes in between service or before service. So we took all the mulch out and put the turf in. And now the kids go in clean and come out clean.
Hmm. So you've got 5 locations right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's Louisville, Lexington, Sarasota, Low Country, and Tucson, right?
Correct.
Where do you see going next? I know you said you wanted to expand. Where's like the next city in your sights that you want to hit?
Yeah. So, I think we've talked about this. I'm changing gears. I love pools. I love them.
Yeah.
But people are not spending the money they were spending like they are anymore. I think turf is going to be, they're saying within 5 years, I'm hearing reading articles, 5 years, everything's going to turf. Airports, we did the Louisville airport. We've done a lot, but everything, future wise, you know, you know, 5 year goal, I would say 40, 50 dealerships throughout the US and have a dealer model. And each one of them, we train them, we come in and train them, we set them up, we make sure they're running properly, and then they order. Basically, we ship all our materials to each dealer.
Mm. So for each of these locations, how does that work? If someone wanted to say work for you in each of these locations, let's say I was in Boston and I wanted to open up a dealership, how would that work for you?
So, so what we do is we have an onboarding process. We'll interview you, make sure you're a good fit, make sure we go to a couple interviews, and then once we bring you on, do the little background check, make sure everything's good morally, ethically. We'll bring you on, and then we have a franchise fee that we charge right now. It's not really that much. We don't really hold our feet to the fire, just getting it going. Eventually, the franchise fee will be from day one once they sign. Once we get over 10 dealers, then we'll start actually charging the full franchise fee for every dealer. So the first 10 dealers, they got it going because they get 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 months of marketing. We as a corporation are paying for all this, paying for the marketing, making sure the leads come in, making sure they're trained. We kind of get them on their bike with training wheels, and then we kind of steer them off, and then they take it over from there.
Hmm. What do you think is the main 2 things that are similar for Agape Pools and EternaTurf, and the main 2 things that are different?
I would say what's similar is outdoor experience. Everybody wants an outdoor living lifestyle, immaculate yard with pools or hot tubs, whatever you name. It's very similar because it's a luxury item. Both of them are luxury items. I guess the very thing is different is turf. You can get in 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I can install huge projects and be out of the way. Pool, it could linger months. I mean, you could have them called by the pump or this, and the ground shifted. And it's just a lot that entails in a pool versus just putting some, ripping up grass, putting in gravel, tamping it, putting turf down. I would say that's the biggest difference is the install.
So who do you think needs turf the most right now? As like homeowners or as people that have, playgrounds? Like what do you think is the biggest demand for turf in the US?
Yeah. I just got back from a 2,300 square feet homeowner that wants it, a lead. It was a beautiful lead. Just got back. He wants it in his backyard, 50 by 45 area for his kids to play on. He don't want to cut the grass no more. He wants a fence to go around it and be no maintenance. He wants no maintenance. He wants to make his kids and family kick soccer balls and not have to worry about any maintenance. I would say families, dog parks are amazing. Like that's where it's at. I'd say if you can land I would say 90% of like apartments that are getting thrown up, they're starting to do dog runs of turf in between because there's so many dogs on it using the bathroom, it tears the sod up. So dog parks are becoming a major hit in the area.
Nice. You see dog parks coming up, playgrounds.
Yeah,
Mentioned
put it in perspective to give you square footage wise. Um, I would say before I really got the EternaTurf up and running, my prior experience, if we sold 200,000 square feet of turf, 60% to 65% maybe was dog turf.
Wow.
That's how big pet turf is, because it's either an old lady or an old gentleman that is tired of walking their dog and they want to go outside. We'll go into a little patio home that has all concrete, and we'll rip up half the concrete and put in pet turf where they don't have to take the dog outside the fence. And then now the dog can use the bathroom on the pet turf.
You mentioned you did a job for Louisville Airport. What was that like?
It was turf. We do it there. Every airport starting to do pet relief areas. We did a pet relief area right as you walk out of baggage claim, so they can drop their dog and use the bathroom. It's got a little fire hydrant, a little fake fire hydrant, and it's got a little water station for the dogs. And we
awesome.
actually did Cincinnati as well. We did Louisville and Cincinnati in pet turf.
That's great. And where do you see this going in the future? Like ideally 5-10 years from now, where do you want to be?
I would say 5-10 years out, I'll have a full operation corporate office, and probably 15, 20, 30 employees, ordering leads, have an amazing partner with marketing partnership. I'd love to do what a competitor's done every year is my goal. By the end of the year is to have probably a scaled down version, but to have a conference every year that kind of boosts everybody's morale, and and then have speakers come in and speak to the groups, and work on quality every year. Partner with, it all comes out of Dalton, Georgia, which is the carpet headquarters of the U.S. And 5 years, this is a really high goal of mine. But I know this sounds funny, but 5 years from now, we're sitting in the NASCAR booth racing competitors with fully wrapped vehicles.
That's great. Anything else? Any last thoughts, Chris, that you think people should know about turf, about what you do, and where can they go and find you?
So you can go to EternaTurf.com. You can look us up, Google us, look us up on the web. If there's, I don't know. We just pride ourselves in quality and service. And I was an Army veteran. I was an Army officer in the military, the Army for 8 years. I feel like we try to take care of people. And we really pride ourselves in ethics and professionalism and all across the board.
Great. Chris at AgapePools.com and Chris at EternaTurf.com. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks.
All right. We can keep on here. I'm just going to end this. Forwarding.